boys and girls have just arrived at Oxfordproducts for their Ladies' Day. I can hear people. Hello, ladies! So Mike was supposed to be here at the Ladies' Day. He got an invite because he's like, you know, doing the Oxford photo shoots and stuff. And he's not here, so looks like I'm wearing 2 lanyards for the both of us. So the main event is happening in here. We've got some pastries and some baked goods. Oh, you know I love a croissant. I'll take you guys along.
I appreciate a lot of my audience are men, and some of you are probably wondering why it is that us ladies get a dedicated Ladies' Day. Well, to keep the answer simple, the reason is that we account for a much smaller percentage of the market, therefore we have limited options compared with our male counterparts. Why do we have limited options compared to men? Well, it's all down to minimum order quantities from factories and its relation to how many garments will realistically sell, whilst trying to price a garment as fairly as possible. You could call it diseconomy of scale. For the record, this isn't a paid advert for Oxford, but I'm sharing this experience with you because I do think it's commendable that Oxfordproducts are dedicated to fine-tuning their products based on live feedback regarding fit, features, colorways, gaps in the product range, by getting input from the end user, which in this case specifically is us ladies.
They mostly sit within what would be like this.
Hey, babe!
When we all sat down after greeting one another, we all introduced ourselves, who we are, what bikes we ride, how long we've been riding. It's nice that Oxford had a good mix of ladies. Not all were influencers or YouTubers. There were journalists, motorcycle clothing store owners, and ladies with normal 9-to-5 jobs. Here, Oxford showed us some of the product range, the thought processes behind the designs, and asked us for feedback.
On the sides, you've got on the shoulder a ripstop fabric, and this is designed in that key abrasion area, and you've got the back of the elbow as well. We've got 360D reflective, so you've got the chest there, on the arm, and if you do a little spin, we've got it there as well. So from whatever angle you're getting seen out on the road, these are being back at you in the night. And on the back here, we've also got a passive exhaust vent. So you've got 2 zips to the front that let in air, and then the back one just dumps that warm air out as well. So it's a fully, be able to basically go up or down a size ideally in the best case. So we've got a little expansion gusset here, which basically opens up for women who've got slightly more hippier figures going on. Yeah.
Technical term.
Right and then we also use what's called princess sealing, so it's an old tailoring term, and it basically comes around here, helps with bust shaping, and then comes back out and gives you a bit of an hourglass figure. So yeah, that's the jacket, and then on the pant we've got much the same fabrics going on, but we've got some key stretch here. So above the knee, where occasionally have accordions, we've got a 4-way stretch, and then on the back of the knee as well, and above the seat of the pant as well. And then you've got some nice big Velcro gussets here to fit over big touring boots. So this is a fully waterproof garment, fully taped seams, and it's been really successful for us. And this is a brand new launch, so at $129 price point. So it's sort of like Oxford's entry point to adventure / touring riding. And it comes in 4 colorways. So we've got this one here, which is the Arctic Black Teal. We're doing it in navy, with little navy prints, a stealth black, and then we've got a tech pink as well. And we're finding that all of these, with our initial sales, are like about level pegging each other. Like, it's nice to be able to give the options, and people seem to be picking them up and enjoying them. So it'd be good to get your feedback on what you think about it, actually.
Really smart.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Fits really nice as well.
Great.
It's just the sizing. Just
Yeah.
the
Yeah, we'd love to go higher. So what we're doing with a couple of garments is looking to expand the size range that we offer in the men's, I think the women's as well.
How tall are you?
About 5'8", I think.
Cool.
Really?
So next
You
up
shoot?
we have the Oaks 1.0
Stop just talking about
in the khaki colourway.
Love.
So this is a product that's been around for a couple of years. We launched it in a new colourway. We wanted to do more exciting things rather than just sticking with like, you know, just whacking a pink on it or whatever. So the khaki we think looks fantastic. So this is a highly ventilated mesh shell, which might be nice to know in these coming summer months. So we've tried to zone it in key areas where you need it most, whilst keeping the more protective fabrics in those zone 1 areas. So that slightly lighter green is the mesh, and then we've got in the pockets there as well. We've got adjustability on the upper arm, on the cuffs, and on the waist, so you can really cinch it in. And then we've got dashes reflective on it as well. Yeah, on the back, so if you turn the face that way, we've got an Oxford graphic in reflective. So it's one of those things where you, whatever direction you get seen, if you're riding for a bit longer in the summer months and for the night, you'll still be seen. And you can face forward now, please. And then you've got 3 pockets across this garment. So you've got 2 side pockets zippered, and then you've got an internal Napoleon one, which I tend to put my phone in there. It's just where I like to keep it. And that's coming at 11999 sea level 1 protectors in the shoulders and the elbow. And then we've got that in 3 colourways, so we've got the khaki, and then we've got that original black, grey, pink, and we've got a full stealth black option as well. So we tend to always do like a quite poppy colour, and always a stealth black, because lots of women like, you know, I like wearing full black as well, so yeah. What do you think about, do you like the new colourway? Would you like to see more stuff like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's my favourite textile jacket that you do. And I remember the first time I tried it on, it was so different to this. So the ones in the picture,
Yeah.
the one in the pictures, it was. I remember it was a bit longer and plainer. So all that detail here, there on the sleeves, wasn't there. So
Yeah.
you've changed it, because I remember Paul said that that's just the first kind of
Like a prototype.
prototype. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love what you've done with it. I think that's probably my favourite textile jacket, and I like the fact that it's cropped.
Yeah,
So it's not too
short
long.
in the back. I'm really short in the back, so
It's
Yeah,
really
you
nice.
don't get that
droop,
function.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
makes me look like small if it's long.
Cool. It's nice.
Here we were shown the promotional video for the Mondial 2.0. I couldn't do the shoot as I had freshly broken my fingers. However, my good friend Lucia stepped in to film with Mike, my partner. Instead of showing this video on the presentation screen, I'm going to play the HD version for you guys now.
I've thrown myself into the waters where you've been waiting all this time. I searched my whole life through.
So this is the Mondial 2 jacket. We use that laminate shell, so that's the outer shell, and then we've got a durable dolly fabric, and use that on the impact areas. We've got the shoulder here, runs all the way down to the forearm, and then we've got it across the back yoke as well. We've retained most of the key features from the original Mondial and done some slight changes here and there just to make it perform better. We had excellent feedback on the men's, so it's just like, what can we do just to like make it that bit better? And one of those things was moving the vent, which used to be down here, so it was a cuff adjustment vent that you could open up, and also doubled as a vent as well. Trouble is, with gloves, thick gloves underneath it, it gradually work its way open, and it was just a constant, like infuriating thing to have to deal with. So we've moved up the vent up to here. So that's a direct ventilation. Because of the laminate construction, air now goes directly to your body rather than getting blocked by the membrane. So it's like a real comfort feature. And the cuff adjustment is now a simple Velcro closure with a massive gusset on it as well, so you can fit whatever size gloves you're running with at the moment. On the chest, we've got 2 waterproof vents as well, so you just open them and things get a bit warmer. And then if I turn these things that way, on the back here we've got an exhaust vent as well with a waterproof zipper, and this angle in a way that actually water comes down here, just angles off and you're completely dry. You've then also got a box pocket as well. And sorry, I'm rusty.
I think it's on the first one as well.
Like that.
I might be wrong.
Recording stretch panel here.
Might be wrong.
You've also got a dash of vinyl printing. So this is one of those things that helps, should you come off your bike, it promotes sliding. You don't want parts of your garment to snag on the floor and send you into spin, because that's when you're more likely to break bones. You want to get rid of that energy through sliding. That's what technology people use on racetracks and whatnot. So face down please. So you've got adjustment points in the upper arm here, a wedding slider. You've got the side, the waist there as well, so you can cinch it in. And then we've got a hip expansion vent as well. So this is now something we use across most of our textile range. So that's the jacket. It also uses a warm, dry thermal liner. So it's a higher spec than what we use on, say, the Dakota. Full zip in again, so you've got all that insulation baked in. And then the pants, we do one colourway on this that matches every single jacket colour that we do. You've got vents that run across horizontally now, so when you're in that riding position, it basically acts as like a funnel and shoots it where you need it. You have that same accordion stretch in the knee to get that knee flexion, and printing on the knee as well. And then we've got some two-way stretch as well, which is laminated, so that's using the back of the knees. It's lightweight, it lets you manoeuvre a bit more easy. So we've really gone to town on dialing down the fit basically, and trying to make it, you know, a really aesthetically pleasing garment form as well. We've also upgraded the protectors to be C level 2. So the protectors currently come in 2 different forms. You've got level 1, which is your entry level, and you've got level 2. We do a level 2, but it also comes in this really soft, pliable polymer. So whilst you're wearing it, super comfortable and soft, conforms to your body really well and shifts. But as soon as it's under impact, it hardens up, much like B30, to be honest. So we run that in the shoulders and the elbow, and we've got the knees as well. And we also have a provision for a back protector. So colorways, we're looking at an Arctic black as we have here. We've got a black / coral, and we've got a full stealth black as well, and that pant that matches all of them, as I said. I think that comes in a couple of different sizes as well. Yeah, brilliant.
Short regular.
So, yeah, get some feedback. What's your response to this? Do you like it? Or?
Yes.
Have the pants got bib and braces?
Yeah, they still wear the braces.
Yeah.
So they used to, the old Mondial had braces that connected here, ran all the way back there, connected down the back. Problem is when you're riding, they just gradually like slip off. So we changed this to a Y construction. So you've got, you can't say that. You've got 2 that come here, and then over the back it runs into a single one. So they basically like cinch down to one, connect here, and you haven't got that problem of them falling off. And they're also made of a stretchier fabric, and they've got a bit of breathability on the back of the Y-shaped construction.
Okay guys, so I'm in group 1 and we're just about to do a tour of Oxfordproducts, so I'll try and take you guys along for it. Thank you. Oh look, Ruby! Gigantic! At the start of the tour, we walked through the offices and learnt about what everybody's individual roles were in the office. From there, we walked through for a warehouse tour. I don't know what I was expecting, but for some reason, it wasn't for the warehouses to be this big. They were absolutely gigantic. I expected the place to be quite a sizable operation, but I think just seeing all the products in the rafters and everything being loaded and unloaded, I think that is when the gravity of the operation kind of hits you.
This building was built kind of to support these buildings with stock and overflow, but it's been filled in its own right within 4 weeks. Wow.
This is what 27 million quid looks like when it's boxed.
Sheesh.
I don't know how interesting warehouses are to you, but for us it's a sort of physical embodiment of how we're growing. And this warehouse is only a year old. It's a much more technically advanced warehouse than that one. And the way we...
After the tour, we walked through what I call the leather corridor, and it took us to the main foyer where the Motor Rapido Oxfordproducts Ducati is. Then from there we ventured outside, had a walk across the road and ended up at the R&D, the Research and Development Centre.
So we are now at the R&D Centre, our facility. Purpose built, so it should be good to have a look inside.
Downstairs we develop the hard parts, upstairs we develop the soft goods, and downstairs we also do all the testing and we break stuff downstairs basically. Going on, so over there we've got purchasing admin. So we have got the best part of 20,000 product lines. There's an awful lot of work that just goes into maintaining those codes, those SKUs. So these guys are dealing with all the factories, placing the orders, chasing the orders, dealing with all the global logistics. Big job, we've got hundreds of factories around the world. We've all got to be somehow corralled and all that stock brought over in the most efficient possible way. So very important stuff goes on in the purchasing admin over there. We've then got compliance, headed up by Paul in the corner. I mentioned earlier on that we sell lots, we develop and sell every kind of product, electronics, hard goods, soft goods. Every single one of those products that we develop has to be signed off by compliance. It very often has to pass a legal standard, electronic legal standards, clothing, PPE standards, even down
Part of the subframe.
Oh really?
inside and half a dozen people hang on the outside in order to see what we're talking about.
And they are both flexible and rigid depending on how we want the part, so we can spec the material for each component. We can create threaded components. We can add carbon fibre and glass infill to increase strength. We can also bead blast and powder coat them and use them in testing. They're about 80% the strength of injection moulding, so we can actually compare them to real world production techniques. So all different parts, so inner tubes and grips. And this is actually a brake reservoir that can be used on a bike, so we can powder coat it and use it. Yeah, so you can see, so this is the chamber.
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
And then that sifted onto the, so this just vibrates and cleans off the parts, and then the parts come out.
Wow. That looks like you could fry your chips in
It
there.
does look like a chip fryer.
It's crazy what they can make.
And this is your big nail lamp, essentially, isn't it?
Where are we going now?
To the testing area.
Yeah, girl.
Which is our textile tester. So with the 3D printed parts, we can textile test them by pulling or pushing them up to 5 tons using this. We'll take the 80% figure from there and make sure that it correlates with the test here, and then we'll also make sure this matches up to the FEA results. So it all has to match up at each stage to make sure we move forward. So if the results we get from this are less than the FEA test, then we'll take a step back and redo the FEA test before bringing the products through again. On here we'll test everything from, this is actually luggage material, so this is fabrics used in our luggage, and we're using the jaws from the CE tear and seam testing. So there's specific jaws that are used for the CE testing, and we can test our clothing with the tear and seam test to make sure that they will pass the testing before we send it off. But we also use the same standards for all of our other fabrics. So all of our luggage has set limitations for different volumes and different weights of carrying capacity. And we'll use the same CE testing to grade them and make sure that we're using the correct materials for larger and smaller luggage. We'll also test things like buttons on a pair of jeans, so we'll get strips for each batch to ensure that the equipment in the factory is working correctly, and we can make our own fixtures to test these and do batch testing on all of those items. So with the tensile tester we have 2 load cells. We have a 500 kilo load cell that's on there, which is for lighter weight materials, and that will pull a human hair and give us a failure graph to show where the failure points are. So that's really tight tolerance. And then we have a 5 ton load cell which we'll use for things like pallet stands. Our 0G ranging up to about 3.5 tons, so that's the sort of heaviest stuff we test on here. And that will lift 3.5 tons and stay stationary without failure. So you can lift most cars with them. Once we're finished with this, we tend to move on to the weathering tester. So this is a slightly rarer piece of equipment, and this accelerates weathering by 1/35. So it's essentially a giant sunbed. Wait for the UV to turn off. Not a huge amount in there, just taking it all out. So, I'm not going to shuffle around and have a look around that side, but examples of what's in it. So, in this we have 8 UV bulbs and a condensation tray. The idea of the machine is to give real world weathering results, so it will accelerate time. We'll have a 500-hour test in here, which is 8-hour cycles of UV followed by 8 hours of condensation. And that's supposed to mimic 2 years in Florida. And the company that make this QLab have a field in Florida full of every type of material you could think of, and they are measuring the weathering results from that and then calibrating the machine to it. So it's a real world weathering results of all of the different items. So anodized components like these will often change to different colours when they're poor quality. So we'll usually, with an anodised part, for a first sample from a new factory, will almost always fail. Because every part you see online, cheap on Amazon and things like that, will be poorly anodised, and they'll try and just be sneaky and not meet our specs. The second sample on will never fail. So then, once they realise we're doing this and we should give them the results, they'll never try and cut corners again. So anodised parts like these. Example. Yeah.
New factory.
New factory.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like
going grey.
You just guarantee it, can't you?
They've not been too long either. You get some interesting colours, so these all started out completely black. Polymer parts such as this will go in the tensile tester, then go in the weathering tester, and then be retested in the tensile tester. So this is made out of a Delrin nylon, so this will absorb about 20% water, which will then make it weaker at the end of life, so we'll retest for strength in its worst possible case. And this is an example again of, so with our testing, we will test if we want it to survive 2 years, we'll do a 2-year test, create the report after weathering. Then we'll put it back in and test it to destruction so we can see the maximum life cycle of it. And this is the longest lasting item we've had, and it's one of our clickers. And the nylon is almost completely perished now. But this has been in for the equivalent of about 115 years now. Wow. So after 115 years, the spring is still just about working, but the nylon is now degraded completely. And it's just going to be washing away into the water on here. So it's still impressive that it's kept going. And I think it will continue to keep going. The 3M pad is solid.
And the thing is solid, it's not going to come away.
It's never going to fail, no.
This is an example of a product where we had to go over the top with the design, because it's going to carry a £1,000 mobile phone at 100 miles an hour potentially on a bike. It could not fail. So it had to be completely over-designed with the fanciest materials.
After we'd been to the R&D facility, we headed back for lunch. After lunch we did another exercise in this room, but we weren't allowed to film this bit because they gave us sneak peeks at products that will be released in the future, so they're kind of top secret and no photography or videography was allowed.
Jade's never been so excited before. She's actually got some choice as a vegan. Love it.
Oh my God,
look at it. Nom nom nom. Girls, the day's nearly over. Jade, how have you found it?
Really, really good. It was so interesting seeing the tour and learning about all the processes that they go through from literally start to the end of it. It was really, I'm just, blown away a bit.
Liked it?
Yeah,
good.
really good.
And what about you?
Yeah, really good, really interesting, like I said. It was also really good to be able to give feedback on like the products and stuff and say what works and what doesn't, and then really take that on board. So.
Awesome. So guys, the Oxford day is over. Everybody is getting ready to scoot off on the bikes. It's been so good, it's been just great. We had a presentation in the morning, then we had a tour around, and then for the second part of the day, we all sat in this circle like a cult, joking, and basically we saw some prototypes and gave our feedback on them and stuff like that. So we weren't allowed to film any of that because they're like future releases, so it's all very top secret. But it's been a great day, really enjoyed it. It's been so good to hang out with the girls and hear all their opinions on kit and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say it's been a successful day. Now it is time to ride back to Manchester with Lily, Duke of Blonde. But yeah, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!